So you're thinking about booking a cruise, and honestly, I'm not surprised. I mean, it is the fastest growing travel industry in the world. So even if you haven't been on a cruise yet, I'm sure you have seen the advertisements and now you are considering one for your next vacation. But here's the thing, booking the wrong cruise line or cruise ship could ruin the experience and potentially put you off cruising entirely. Let me explain. A few years ago, I went to Turkey and I stayed in a hotel called Jiva Beach, and it was the best holiday ever. So a few years later, I went back to Turkey, but I stayed in a different hotel because the one previously had gone up in price by quite a lot. The hotel I chose to stay in was awful the second time around, and it got me thinking, if I'd have come here first, it would have led me to thinking, Turkey's just not for me. But actually that's not the case, it was just a bad hotel choice. And cruising is exactly the same. If you choose the wrong ship, it's going to lead you to thinking cruising just isn't my thing, when in reality it's just a poor match. So in the first part of this video, I'm going to walk you through some questions you need to ask yourself before booking your cruise to make sure you book the right one for you. And in the second half of this video, I'm going to go through some general pieces of information that I believe you need to know as someone who has never cruised before. And if you're watching this and you have cruised before, and you can think of any other questions you think people should ask themselves or any other pieces of information that would be useful, please leave them down in the comments because we can all learn from each other. The first question to ask yourself is, what actually appeals to me about cruising? So when you see those advertisements on the TV or on YouTube videos about cruising, what is it that makes you think, wow, that looks amazing and I would like to try it? Is it the fact that you'll be waking up in a new destination every day? Is it all of the onboard entertainment that looks appealing to you? Is it all of the food that's on offer? Or it might just be the fact that you're going to be on a ship. I mean, you might never have been on a ship before. The second question to ask yourself is, what am I apprehensive about when it comes to cruising? If anything, but there probably will be a few things. So for a lot of people, motion sickness or seasickness is a big thing that new cruisers are really worried about. Or it might be, I'm going to be on a ship with thousands of other people. I'm worried it's going to be overcrowded and there's just going to be people everywhere. Anything that you are a little bit apprehensive about when it comes to cruising, write this down, because by acknowledging it, it will actually help us avoid this later, which I'll talk about in a bit. The third question is, what does a good vacation look like to me? To you? Do you want to party and stay up late? Do you want peace and quiet, early nights, slow mornings? Are you an adventurer? Are you a sunbather? Are you a let's see what happens type? What do you look for when you plan a vacation? And don't worry, I will give you some examples after I've gone through all of the questions. The fourth question is, where do I want to go? If you have done any research on cruising, which I imagine you have because you are watching this video, you will know that cruises go pretty much everywhere. Do you want Mediterranean, Caribbean, Alaska, Norway, Australia? Like, what sounds appealing to you? Where would you like to go? I will say though, for a lot of cruisers, the cruise ship is the destination, and a lot of people don't really care where in the world the cruise is. But for your first cruise, it might be worth noting down where you want to go, you know. Number 5 is a very important question, and that is, what is my budget for this? And when you are thinking about your budget, you also want to factor in gratuities, Wi-Fi, excursions, a drinks package when you're on board, speciality dining, potentially spending money if you go out in port. So it's important to budget not just for the initial cruise fare, but also for the extras that there will inevitably be when you get on board. The sixth question is, how long do I want to go for? Because cruises range from 3 days to 3 weeks to 3 months to potentially 3 years. So you really can go on a cruise for however long you want to go, however long your money will take you. A lot of people who are new to cruising go on like a 3 or 4 day cruise. It's a short cruise and they're like, well, we'll just test it out, and if we like it, then we'll go on a longer cruise. A shorter cruise does attract a party crowd. So if in question 3 you were like, my ideal vacation vibe is relaxing, you might go on a 3 day cruise and be like, This is not relaxing, this is a floating frat party. So depending on your ideal vacation vibe, a short cruise isn't always the best way to test cruising, if that makes sense. Question 7 is, who are you going with? Are you going with your family and kids? Are you going with your friend? Are you going with your partner? Are you going solo? Do you want kids on board? Would you prefer an adults only experience? Because some cruise lines offer both, and within their fleet of ships they have ships that are adults only and ships that also cater to families. Okay, so now I'm going to give you my example. So for question 1, the thing I'm most excited about is waking up in a new destination every single day. Question number 2, the thing that I'm apprehensive about is the crowds. I don't want to be surrounded by loads of people all the time. Question 3, my ideal vacation vibe is a mix of relaxation and fun. I want pool time, I want parties, I want to be able to nap, I want a little bit of exploration in the day, but I also want, you know, some time to chill. Question 4, where do I want to go? This summer, I would love to go to the Mediterranean. What is my budget? Let's say 1,500. And who am I going with? I'm gonna go with my girlfriend, and ideally we would prefer an adults only experience. So based on my answers, Virgin Voyages would be a really good fit for me because it's an adults only cruise line. They have got Mediterranean routes. They have smaller ships, which means less crowding usually. It's designed for a younger and more social crowd. But something else to bear in mind is, let's say I'm most apprehensive about seasickness, but I also said that I wanted to sail around Australia in April. They kind of contradict each other because the sea around Australia in April is very, very choppy. So it's likely that I'm going to be seasick if I choose that cruise, which is why it's really helpful to book a cruise through a travel agent. So that is why I have partnered with a travel agency called Cruises It. They are experts and they will help you book your dream cruise based on the answers that you have given to these questions. I actually had a few issues on my most recent cruise, and Cruises It were amazing at helping me fix everything really quickly, which is why I now work with them and ask them to partner with me, because they know what they're doing and they genuinely care. So feel free to use the link below to get in touch with Cruises It and get help booking your cruise. It costs you nothing extra, and you never know, you might unlock some perks like onboard credit, speciality dining, so definitely check them out and let me know what cruise you have booked. So now moving on to some things that I think you need to know about cruising. The good and the bad. Firstly, let's go through the good. Once you're on board, everything you need, whether that be entertainment, your cabin, food, is a 5-minute walk away. This means that you can be spontaneous and relax. So while you will need to do planning before your cruise, once you are on board, you are able to just relax, go with the flow, and be as spontaneous as you like. Cruises are brilliant for families, especially if your kids are getting to the age when they want a little bit of independence, but you still want peace of mind. Kids clubs are amazing on most ships because they're in a contained environment. You know that they can only go so far, so you are able to get your adult time, they are able to have fun, and everyone's happy. It's easy to be social or not. I truly believe cruises are the easiest holiday to make friends on. Even if you are traveling solo, most people are open and friendly and happy to chat. If you are introverted and you want to keep yourself to yourself, you can absolutely do that as well. But for me, who is a bit of a social butterfly, like, I love meeting new people. It's something that really excites me. I love it. I love getting to know people and their stories. So I really enjoy the fact that I can go on a cruise, and whether I'm cruising with someone or cruising on my own, I know that I'm going to make friends by the end of that cruise. Another great thing is you get the chance to dress up. Many cruise lines have optional formal nights, and for a lot of people, it's the highlight of their cruise. In everyday life, we don't really get the opportunity to go full glam and get dressed up. So a lot of people really relish the fact that on a cruise, you can get as dressed up or as dressed down as you like. But people really love the fact that they can go on a cruise, get their amazing dress on, have their photo taken. And on a lot of cruises I've worked on, I've seen people actually rewear like their prom dress or their wedding dress. And I love that, because those kind of outfits, like, when are you going to wear them in your normal life? So it's lovely that you can take them on a cruise and actually reuse them and feel like a princess or a prince. One of my big pros is you get to see multiple places without unpacking. You get to wake up in a different destination every day without the hassle of packing and unpacking and having to move hotels. It is honestly the easiest way to see multiple places in one trip. And the non-stop entertainment. From comedy clubs to theatre shows to silent discos, there is always something going on a cruise. I promise you will not run out of things to do on a cruise unless you want to, in which you can just lie by the pool and read your book. So again, you can be as entertained or as self-entertained, you know what I'm trying to say, as you like. And now for the not so good parts about cruising. One of the most common first time cruiser fears is being left behind by the cruise ship, which is a totally valid fear to have. So I have two things to combat this. So when you get on your cruise ship on embarkation day, make sure you go to your phone settings and put your phone on manual time and get rid of the auto time updates. Depending on where you're sailing and if there's a time change, the ship time might be different to the port time. And I have seen a few people miss the ship because they had their phone on automatic time zone, and unfortunately the ship time was not the same as the place they are. And then my personal rule, if I'm getting off in port and sightseeing, if the thing I want to see is less than 30 minutes away from the ship, I am happy to go on my own and, you know, explore on my own, because I know I can get back easily in 30 minutes or less. And if the thing I want to see is more than 30 minutes away from the ship, that is when I book an excursion either through the ship or through my travel agent or through a local excursions company. But the good thing about booking an excursion through the ship, and why a lot of people like to do it that way, is if that excursion arrives late to the ship for whatever reason, maybe you get stuck in traffic, the cruise ship will wait for that excursion because it's been booked through the cruise line. So it means you can go on that excursion and fully relax knowing that you're going to get back to the ship. My second piece of advice is please don't fly to your cruise ship on the same day that you're going to be boarding your cruise ship. If your flight is delayed or cancelled and you're flying in the same day, that cruise ship will leave without you. This is not like a hotel where you can just check in late. The next thing is, unless you are cruising on an ultra luxury cruise line, most cruises are not truly all-inclusive. So I did mention this earlier when you asked yourself what your budget was for the cruise, but it really is important that you will not just have to pay for the initial cruise fare. Once you are on board, you will potentially have to pay for a drinks package, a Wi-Fi package. You will have to pay gratuities at the end of the cruise, which a lot of people get surprised by. If you go out and port, you are going to want to do some shopping most likely, or buy yourself some food. And this is totally manageable, but it's just really important to know that the upfront initial cruise fare is not everything. Like, there is going to be more things that you need to pay for once you are on board. Something to bear in mind about a cruise, yes, there are Wi-Fi packages, but Wi-Fi is generally slow. I have to say it is getting better, and the newer ships that I've been on recently have kind of proven that theory wrong. Like, the Wi-Fi is getting really good. It's still obviously not as good as the Wi-Fi would be in a hotel on land. And Wi-Fi packages are usually very pricey for what they are. So if you really do want to stay connected, it is important that you have a look at the Wi-Fi packages ahead of time. When it comes to your first cruise and cabin selection, I don't think you can do too much research on this. My general rule of thumb, and honestly all cruise experts' general rule of thumb, is you want to select a cabin in the middle of the ship, because in the middle of the ship you feel the least amount of motion, and you want to be surrounded by cabins, meaning you obviously want cabins next door to you, you also want a cabin opposite you, you also want cabins below you and above you. So if you look at the cruise map, which when you book through your travel agent, they will be able to show you the deck plans, you can see that they want to put you on deck 6, but on deck 7 above you is the nightclub or the gym. No, it's going to be noisy, you're going to struggle to sleep, and it is going to affect your cruise, because a lot of people think, well, I mean, I'm not going to spend any time in my cabin really, so it doesn't matter too much. I actually would argue that I think it really does matter, and it can impact your cruise quite significantly, especially if you like to go to bed early and you're near the nightclub. Yeah, it's gonna impact your cruise. So middle of the ship, and you want cabins surrounding you, because I promise you, even if you end up with noisy neighbours, that will not even come close to the noise of being below the gym or above a nightclub. So my final thoughts is that choosing the right cruise can be life-changing. It is the difference between you never wanting to cruise again and only wanting to cruise in the future. And I'm sure if you're considering going on a cruise, you've probably met people who are like, we only cruise. We love cruising, and people are really into it, really obsessed with it. And it's because they hit the nail on the head when they went on their first cruise. They chose the right cruise line, the right ship, and it just fit their vibe perfectly. And I truly believe that people who are like, I hate cruising, it's the worst vacation ever, just didn't get it right. Personal story, when I said I wanted to work on cruise ships, my parents were like, let's go on a cruise and see if you're seasick. Very kind of them. We went on a Carnival cruise. Me and my brother thought it was the best thing ever. My traditional English parents were like, we have come to hell on earth. So then when I was working on a P&O cruise ship and I was trying to entice them to come and cruise because I got discounts because I was a crew member, they were like, no, we do not want to come on board. Like, we'll just see you when you come home. And I was like, I promise you, it's not like Carnival. Please just come on board P&O. Anyway, they agreed to come on board P&O because I got it for such a low rate, and they loved it. And they were like, oh, this is amazing. I'm like, it is amazing. So I truly believe there is a cruise line and a cruise for everybody, but it's just about picking the right one. And the way you do that is by honestly answering the questions I gave you at the beginning of this video, and honestly booking it through a travel agent or getting some help, or really doing your research in terms of looking at YouTube videos, which, well done, you are doing. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I will try and get back to you. As I said, if you are a cruiser and you know of some other questions that would be helpful to know the answer to, or some other pieces of advice that would help people, leave them in the comments. We can all learn from each other. If you would like to book a cruise through Cruises It, which I highly recommend, check out my link below. And I think that's it. But thank you so much for being here. I really hope you have taken something from this video and it has helped you out. But as always, I'll see you in the next one.